Hey everyone, if you guys like the content, go and subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, and give the video a like or share. Hey everyone, if you guys like the content... What's up, everybody? Welcome to the listening room. My name is Eddie Booze, and with me today, as always, is the wonderfully beautiful Miss Daisy behind me. You guys can't see her. Let's go ahead and see. Let's go and see what Miss Daisy's up to. Always getting that little nap in. Okay, and with me today, my always amazing guest I have on every week to talk about the human condition, Mr. Kyle Romero, host of the Mind Tasting Podcast. How are you, Mr. Romero?
I'm doing very well. Thankful for being here.
Great to have you, my man. Great to have you, brother. So let's get into this, man. First, I like to start off my show like I like to start off my day with a little bit of gratitude. And today, I'm grateful for baseball. I am so happy and grateful that baseball is a thing. You know, that baseball...
Yeah, man.
Dude, I love baseball. Baseball is so great. And lately, I've been watching a whole bunch of great baseball videos on YouTube from this awesome channel called John Boy Media. And they just break down a whole bunch of like awesome plays, great games. They do commentary on great baseball, and since baseball's not being played right, this season as is, it's really been nice to be able to watch some of these games and get some really fun baseball commentary. So, and to be honest with you, baseball is a huge part of my life. My grandfather played ball, my dad played ball, and then I grew up going to see the Angels play. My grandmother had season tickets to the California Angels since before I was born, so it was a big part of my childhood was going to see the Angels play, and Wally Joyner and Dick Schofield and Brian Downing, back in those days, and I was we went all the way up through like the Tim Salmon rookie year, Jim Edmonds, and JT Snow and Garrett Anderson, and got to see them play, and I got to see them play their rookie years, and so the Angels were a big part of my life. The Angels were a real big part of my youth, so so I'm just so happy and grateful for baseball, my man. I'm so happy and grateful for baseball, my brother. What are you happy and grateful for today?
Well, first I'll just say I do love that. That's awesome. Sports is just an awesome form of entertainment, and also just it's an art form as well of like what the human body can do and the capabilities of body and mind. And so I love your gratitude for today. What I'm grateful for today is that I woke up today.
Love it.
I think sometimes I can be in that mindset, especially when I know that it's going to be a long day at work or something like that, or there might be something, especially the coziness of bed, and it's just like, oh, I have to get up and I'm going to have to wake up today. And I've been trying to flip that a little bit more and change that into a gratitude practice of like, I get to wake up today. And I'm grateful that I woke up today, because there are people that, pass in their sleep. There are people, in our lives that are no longer here, and they don't get to wake up today or tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'm just grateful I get to exist today. And it's been a beautiful day, and so
love it.
Yeah, man, I'm grateful.
I love it. I absolutely love it, dude. Ray down there says he's thankful his unemployment card finally came in. Small wins. Great to see Kenny. Kenny says last time he went to a game was with me. He says it's been that long, and I'm not exactly sure when that was, nice. Kenny. It's been a long time. My sister's in the house. Good to see you, Brooke. Everybody. Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. It's good to stay active in your own mental and emotional health, and I find that celebrating your gratitudes are one of the easiest, fastest routes to being active in your own happiness and your own rescue. So. It's always good to start off with a little bit of gratitude. It's always good to acknowledge it. And let's go ahead and jump into the song that we're going to do today. So this is a song I actually wrote for a film. I don't know the name of the movie. I actually just decided about an hour before to throw this song on today on the show. And I wasn't sure of the name of the movie that it was on. But I'll let you guys know. I'll throw it in the description box, after this, and then you guys can check the movie out. I got to call the one of the producer friends of mine who asked me to write it. She worked over at Paramount for a long time, and when she was over there, she said, "Hey, I know you're doing music for films." She's like, "I got this movie. I need this rock song, So I wrote this kind of like slower, heavy rock tune. You know what I'm saying? Kind of with a more of a like an eerie feel to, you know what I mean? Because it was for like a horror film. So let's go ahead and check out Cider Song today. Here we go.
Awesome.
All right, and we are back. That was Cider Song. I wrote that in like 2012, something like that. So That was fun. I do that a lot. I get people call me and say, "Hey, I need a song for this, and can you make it sound kind of like this, or whatever." Somebody did that. Somebody did that yesterday. I had a buddy call me and go, "We need a song for the Long Beach City College commencement that's going to be happening this year." And
Oh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
we want it to be, specific to this year, as well. So I did, I wrote something. And what I had in mind when I was writing it was I would like it to be specific enough to this year to be able to relate to what's going on now and be able to relate to graduating under the circumstances. However, I still wanted to be able to make it also relatable enough for any other year. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wrote it, I submitted it, I sent it over to the guy who asked me to write it. And the text I got back from him was, "Fuck yeah!" So,
yep.
So I'm gonna be recording that tomorrow, and then jumping over and doing some stuff. Actually, gonna be doing the actual video for it coming up here as well too. So that should be. So that should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. I mean, it happens that way a lot. But I really enjoyed writing that tune. I had a little bit of weird, technical, issues just now with your split screen. It was weird, but it's all good. It's all good. I got you on your screen now. So Mr. Romero is the host of a wonderful podcast. You can find all over the place: Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, I believe, everywhere, pretty much everywhere, right?
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
yeah.
Spotify.
Just search for the Mind Tasting Podcast with Kyle Romero, and you'll find this young gentleman's very intrinsic, very introspective podcast. He's very enlightened.
Yeah.
So I'd love. Absolutely. So go check out the Mind Tasting Podcast. And Kyle, while we got you here, while we're talking about the Mind Tasting Podcast, why don't you kind of fill us in on some of the episodes that you've had recently? I know you've released quite a few episodes recently. Why don't you tell us about some of your guests, some of your favorite episodes? Maybe some highlights people might want to go and check out.
Yeah, man. So actually, the last episode I released was just a clip from one of our previous episodes on this show, because we have a lot of overlap in terms of, we're just talking about what it means to be human and the psychology of, this game we're all playing, this game called life. And so I thought we had a lot of awesome insights on one episode that I just clipped and put onto my podcast. I also recently just talked about a story of when I was in this vibe of really just being a victim of my circumstance and not taking any ownership for what was going on in my life. And it was a conversation that I had with my mom, actually, that really flipped it for me. So sometimes I tell stories that are going on in my life and the insights and just lessons that I'm learning. Other times I mind taste someone else. And that's kind of where the mind tasting idea came from, was mind tasting someone, really diving deep into the psychology and the mindset of another person and figuring out what I can learn from them. What are they incorporating into their lives that I could maybe use in my life? And so, for example, I did one on Dr. Dre.
Nice.
A little bit ago, which was one of my favorites.
I actually saw that you did that. I haven't checked it out yet, though. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. It's just about his career and how, he really had to evolve into different versions of himself. And I think any musician, Eddie, I'm sure you experienced this as well, where as your musicality evolves and as you just grow as a person, your musical expression evolves, and you almost have to reinvent yourself,
Absolutely.
So I think Dre had a really distinct reinventions of himself in the different points in his life. And so I kind of broke that down a little bit and just talked about reinventing yourself in general and how, that's something for all of us to do as well. So that's the type of vibe that I'm going for with the podcast, really just looking into human dynamics and the human experience and really just whatever I'm learning and what's on my mind as well. It's definitely a personal outlet. So yeah, if that interests you guys at all in any way, would definitely love for you to check it out. there's no real order to any of the podcasts. And so if you just want to scroll through and maybe if one of them catches your eye, just listen to that one or some of the ones that pop for you. I've kind of gotten that feedback. Some people were wondering, do you have to listen to it in order or anything? And it's not one of those podcasts that's like a story. Each episode is pretty much a standalone. And so whatever catches your eye, if you want to just check it out, check it out.
I dig it, dude. And the Mind Tasting podcast has been really, really, like I said, enlightening, and it's been really great to be a part of too. To be honest with you, when I've been on some of your episodes before, and it's been really, like I said, it's been really fun. And then we get to talk about some really, really amazing stuff. So you can go and check out the podcast anytime. They're uploaded kind of randomly. Is that correct? You kind of upload maybe one or two, maybe a week. Is that right?
Yeah, I was on a 2 to 3 every week for a while. This week, actually, work got a little bit busier, and I just want to. I don't want to force it. I want to be in a good energy,
exactly,
and be kind of inspired when I'm recording. And so I actually haven't dropped one this week, but I'm feeling my energy pick up. So I'm hoping by the end of the week I'll drop one.
Essentially, it's not live. It's not a live show. It's a pre-recorded show that you record whenever you get the inspiration to record one, and then you just put them up. And then so if you're a fan of the Mind Tasting podcast, go follow the Mind Tasting podcast on Spotify or Google's podcast or whatever. And then it should. And then can you select to be notified when a new one comes up?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be probably in whatever podcast settings you have. It's not quite the same as YouTube where you got that like notification bell, at least not on Spotify. I'm not very familiar with the other versions, but definitely if you subscribe, then it'll show up in your feed for whenever I drop one, it will show up in your feed.
Okay, cool. Excellent, my man. Excellent. I love that, dude. I love that. You know, I just wanted to show you guys something else, something like super, super cool. And I'm going to use this on the show quite a bit actually, because I love this. So I always get to see amazing street performers. Like everywhere you go, you just find amazing people just doing the damn thing. And this weekend I was on a one-wheel ride, and you're gonna recognize this place that this guy's playing at. But I think just the video itself speaks volumes visually and audially. So let's check out this amazing dude I saw at Reinerson Park the other day. And he called himself Bucket Man. That was the jam, bro. I loved it, dude.
Call me the bucket man.
Hey, I love. He said they call me the bucket man. Did you hear that? dude was that's the bucket man, dude. Next time I see him, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna make sure I get another video of him, dude, doing it. You know,
Yeah.
I was dope. I loved it. I loved it. I didn't have any cash on me, or else I would have thrown him a couple bucks, dude. Word, dude. I would have, dude.
Yeah, man. He was just
Todd, just
jamming.
having
He
a
was
great
just
one.
like feeling the music and just. Yeah, man.
So Kyle, today, you know, every time I got you on here, I want to talk to you about some stuff. I want to kind of get real with you. So today I want to talk about something very specific that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. Whether people want to acknowledge it or not, I'm sure a lot of people have maybe experienced something along the lines of this. But what I wanted to talk to you today about was fear of success. And why do people self-sabotage, and what can they do to stop? And, you know, and where does this subconscious need to stay where you are come from? You know, is it fear of change? You know, or maybe people can't imagine what they would do if they actually got what they wanted. You know, so, you know, you know, why do people self-sabotage it? You know, and what can they do to stop? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just start there.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's twofold. I think what you said touches on the first aspect of it, of change. Some people just want to stay where they're at and are more comfortable than really going for something and taking a risk, because there is a fear of, you know, even the fear of failure too.
Right.
I think the fear of failure and the fear of success go hand in hand. But I think the fear of success has this added element of a belief that I do not deserve. It's this deserving. It's what you're getting at when you have your gratitude practice of I am worthy of my desires. It's because sometimes in our childhood, in our cultural upbringing, in society's messaging, whether it's through advertising or whatever the case may be, we get this belief ingrained in our subconscious somehow when we're young that I only deserve a certain level of happiness, and we don't want to go above that. We don't believe in the unlimited possibilities. We just believe in, okay, this is who I am. I'm going to create an identity, and this is who the person I am, and this is my space and where I'm supposed to be, and I don't deserve anything else. And so to go further of what you're asking on what can people do, I think it's really addressing that belief and looking into it and really asking yourself, who taught me that? Is it true or not? And why? And maybe look at the person who taught you that and maybe realize that they were actually projecting their own limitations and their limited self-beliefs, and that actually has nothing to do with you. And so the only person really holding you back is you at this point. You know, like that may have happened in the past, but really going deep into that belief system. And I think the gratitude practice that you've talked about in the past really is one of the unlocks, is like, let me just repeat something. Maybe let me address this belief system and repeat something that will override it, so that I will start to believe the opposite thing. I will believe that I am worthy of every single one of my desires. I am deserving to be fully happy and healthy. And I am willing to shed that previous ego and identity of smallness, of mediocrity, of, you know, whatever the ego has decided, okay, this is who I am and that's it. You know, it's about, we've talked about this in the past episode as well, you know, it's about shedding that past identity that you created and maybe starting to see yourself as something bigger, as opening up those possibilities in your mind.
Right. Right. Going back to what you said about past experiences and maybe people that may have kind of exposed you to the thought or the idea that you're not worthy of your desires, or this is all life has to offer you, or you better get used to this standard of living, or whatever message it may have been.
Yeah.
I find that it's not always just a person that does that. Sometimes it can be just living in a certain situation. It can be just living.
Yeah.
It can be just living. Around certain people for an extended period of time can literally change your biochemistry and your thought process into actually believing what you see. You know what I mean? And separate from the path that you're either want to be on or actually are on. You know what I'm saying? You can be on a path of complete positivity and moving forward on your way to your goals, on the way to actually having obtained your desires. But you can also be exposed to a certain kind of mindset when you allow yourself to be around certain situations, other people, certain like types of media that you take in that maybe may make you angry or certain things like that. You know what I'm saying? And what that does is it changes your mindset. It doesn't change it. It just it gets in there. You know what I'm saying? You are a receptacle. Are you going to be society's? Are you going to allow your heart and your mind to be society's garbage cans? Are you going to allow your heart and your mind to be influenced and filled with the things that are limiting, and as an adult now, that may be it's a lot easier to assess now. Like you said, now we have the capabilities to move forward with that, to move past that. But maybe when we were kids, or maybe when it was happening in the moment, whatever situation or person,
we didn't realize it. We weren't aware of it at that moment.
Exactly.
And I think, you're totally right, man. I think our subconscious is very, very much primed and connected to the environment that you're in. And so it's not even a person telling you something necessarily. It's just you subconsciously lived with people that, never left this town. And so you never left this town. Or you lived with people that were all a certain job, and so you thought you're supposed to be that job. They didn't tell you, hey, you have to be a nurse, but every Filipino person I know is a nurse, and I'm Filipino, so I just subconsciously believe that, and you have to start to expose yourself. That's why it's so helpful, and I'm so grateful that I grew up in a more diverse environment, and you're exposed to different cultures and different ideas, because that really opens your mind, to other possibilities. And I think you're totally right, man. Surrounding yourself in an environment that is a little bit more open-minded, is more diverse, and has different things going on, and is just where you might want to be, especially once you start getting a taste for where you might want to be, starting to gravitate more and more towards those environments, because then it's that loop where now your subconscious is starting to believe it also, and then things start happening, and that's where you start evolving. So I think you're totally right, man, that the environment, the surroundings you put yourself in, the media you consume, all huge factors in dissolving that fear of success that you may have started out with, or just any limiting belief, really. Fear of success at its core is a limiting belief. And I think when we're younger, we all have some form of limiting belief because we just aren't exposed to other stuff. And just the more and more that you open your eyes to other ideas, the more those limitations start to fall away.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. So it's the more you just become aware, the more you just become less subjected to it and more objective of those limitations.
Yeah. See it for what it is. And not just absorbing it and okay, this
is happening to me. You know what I mean?
Taking a step back and seeing it in your awareness is a different experience.
Absolutely, 100,000%. Being aware is the first step I found is one of the very, really, to be honest with you, like when I started finding this type of energy, I was in a place where I was subjected to the way I felt, and that was it. I didn't have any frame of reference for any kind of, like I like to say earlier in my show, being active in my own mental and emotional health. I had no reference for that. I had no frame of reference for that at all. I just was just subjected to the way I feel. I feel this way. I don't know what to do. I feel terrible. You know what I mean? And it was it was in a moment of feeling almost at my worst that I was like, I have to find something. And I started looking on YouTube for meditation music that would help me, meditate, and in doing that, just getting that little seed planted, in my own mind, in my own heart, was like this thing that just developed over the last couple of years now into, this awareness of what, of what's possible, of the fact that I'm just not subjected to whatever is coming my way, that I can change my circumstances, that I can live the best life, for myself. I can be the best version of myself, and the fear of success, really, to be honest with you, and it's very subconscious. You know what I mean? It's a very subconscious thing. It's not like a thing that you're like actively like, oh yeah, like I'm afraid to like, to.
Yeah, I don't want to win. I don't want to be happy. You don't really say that. It's a undertone that's going on, and the sabotaging happens.
You start questioning,
like you said.
Yeah, well, like for myself, like I know that like that kind of thought process entails some things that trigger a kind of a like, well, whoa, like what if I do get that, then this changes and then this changes and then this change. It's like I gotta like, I mean, it may it may move you to another place. It may put you, in an opportunity.
It's going to cause discomfort.
It's going to cause discomfort. It's
going to be uncomfortable.
Growth, to a certain extent, requires displacement.
Yes.
It requires the discomfort. It requires a certain form of that. In fact, even being self-aware almost requires that discomfort. It requires that you look into a place that you are not used to looking, inside yourself.
Well, the darkness that we all have inside of us is very scary.
Absolutely.
And it's not easy to look at.
And when we finally shine a light there,
Yeah, it's going to be a little uncomfortable, and it's also going to take some, I think there's like a courage aspect to even look at it. And then there's also almost a forgiveness required as well, of like that part of yourself to forgive yourself that, maybe I didn't understand all these things. I didn't know. I wasn't aware.
Right.
I wasn't aware at that time. So it's okay that I created these limitations. But now that I know, are you going to choose to continue to limit yourself?
Right.
Am I going to choose to keep living this way? Because that's the thing about this path that we're on of introspection and awakening. It's like once it kind of happens and you really do start taking accountability for yourself and you really do start waking up to these parts of yourself, it's almost like you can't go back.
No,
like
can't.
Once you see it, it's like
it's not almost impossible.
Really
it is impossible. Because
once you know,
and I'll tell you why, because to be honest with you, it creates a very strange discomfort inside yourself knowing that you're also creating the negative. So if you choose to dwell there, or you're kind of in this place and you're attracting it to yourself, like if you're aware of that you're able to create the positive, then you're absolutely aware that you're allowing the negative to kind of lay on your shoulders as well, and you're carrying that energy with you. So so you're right. It's very hard to. Here's the only thing I could think of that would allow you to forget that kind of thing is if everything was going so good for so long that you stopped practicing gratitude, that you stopped focusing on the energy, focusing on what got you there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's
Right.
the only thing I could think that would maybe bring that kind of awareness down, was if you just had a lot going for you for so long that you literally just forgot to sit in gratitude and be in that kind of consciousness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
and that does
dude,
happen
a lot.
with people. People get trapped. People get trapped by the success or trapped by the fame or whatever the case may be, and then you start to not realize how awesome it is because you're getting so much positive feedback, and then that feeds the ego.
Dude.
That feeds the ego, like, oh, I'm so
even
amazing.
if it's just a little bit of success, even if it's just like something like a small win. Sometimes people take that, like, go over the deep end with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So, but no, yeah, I get, yeah. But it's good to keep yourself in check. It's good to also look inside and also take accountability, you know, and take stock and see where you're at. You know what I mean? I think,
yeah.
And I think that being able to do that and being self-aware, like we've been talking about, I think they're really the first. I think they're among the first and key steps to actually stripping away that subconscious fear of success and realizing that you are worthy of your desires. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think people even on an intrinsic level, like when people get like a compliment, they're like, "Oh, you don't have to say that." You know what I mean? Like they're not even willing to accept even a kind word. So why would the universe give them their deepest desires? You know what I'm saying? Once you allow yourself to enter receivership, once you allow yourself to get out of your own way, and then you allow yourself to receive the blessings that the universe has always had in store for you, because the universe is always conspiring for your highest interests. Once you're able to do that, drop those gates and say, I am worthy of this. That's awesome. Anytime somebody says, oh, here's $5 for gas, say, oh man, that's super cool. Thank you very much. I could use it. You know, throw the $5 in your wallet. Instead of saying, oh no, I got this. Like, just accept. Think about this. Like, Jake Ducey. Jake Ducey said, there was something that he said that really resonated with me one time, and he was talking about how there's so much abundance in emotional escrow. There's so much abundance waiting to be claimed because there's so much abundance out. There's an oversupply of it sitting somewhere in the ether, because everyone is always trying to give a kind word or offer a couple bucks or offer a hand, and everyone is always too modest or too prideful to take it. Or, they don't want to seem like they need, they're needy or whatever it may be, but it's still, that's not what it's about. It's about everyone trying to help everybody, and everyone's offering abundance that they have to somebody else.
Right.
So when you don't accept that abundance, it just sits there. And then it gathers exponentially, and think about how many people all over the world are doing that, and all this abundance is going into this like emotional escrow account. You know what I'm saying? Like, start claiming some of that. Every time somebody offers you a kind word, turn around, thank you so much. That means the world to me. That, you know what, that made my day. You know what I'm saying? You saying that is going to mean more to them than you saying, oh, that, you don't have to say that. You know what I'm saying? If you start accepting people's kind words with more kind words, they're going to love you even more. And they're going to love the fact that you're engaging in that way. It's just natural. It's natural human interaction. Positive meets positive. Boom. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah. And I think that's what you're really touching on is also a perspective game of being in that mindset of gratitude and acceptance and allowance and receiving. Also helps you to your perspective on what's going on in the world is, oh, this is for my benefit. I'm going to receive it. So even though it's quote unquote bad, even though it's a virus and it's a pandemic, oh wait, this is actually for my benefit. I'm actually going to use this. I'm going to start a live show. I'm going to start a podcast.
Right.
I'm going to find the opportunity because I'm in receiver mode, and I just believe I'm already subconsciously rewiring myself to believe that everything is happening for me. And so I'm just going to receive all the abundance, and it doesn't even look like abundance to
Right.
other people. Other people think it's something else, but I'm just in that mindset, and that mindset is what helps you to transform all of what's going on
Right.
externally into your manifestation and your creation and what you want in the world. You're transforming it in your
Right.
actions and in your thoughts and in your mindset.
Yes, exactly. Self-transformation, bro. It's that rewiring you were talking about, reprogramming yourself for positivity, love, kindness, success, abundance, and all the above, everything else,
Yes.
and rewiring
Yes,
yourself to accept personal success, to accept business, to accept
Yeah.
financial success, to accept business
Yes.
success. And I'll tell you what, dude, that's kind of that's a hurdle that I'm sure a lot of people can't get past. I know a lot of people who just believe that they belong in a certain financial bracket. They just this is where I am. This is where I'm going to be. This is
where
the and it's not about that's all they want. It's just the belief is in the fact that they have this. It's a limited belief that they only can have this. You know what I'm saying? They only can have this because that's what their parents had. That's what everyone else around them has. And how could I change my life for the better? You know what I'm saying? When a lot of people have the capability to have financial freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, dude,
but
everyone does.
But they don't.
That's the thing. Everyone does. It's all about the perspective.
It's all about
the belief system.
Absolutely.
It's all about, like, we create what we believe. Like, we create the world that the thoughts that we have is what's creating our world, and it's through our actions. That's the thing. The thoughts is what changes the actions and the behavior, and then that's what manifests.
Yes.
And so it really is going back to the belief system. I think that's really the key thing.
That's where it starts. That's where it starts.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you can check the thoughts, if you can match the thought, here's even better. If you can match the thought. So when you start thinking to yourself, I'm so happy and grateful for this, or I'm so happy and grateful for this, or I deserve this. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm worthy of this. When you can start thinking those thoughts, you're on the right track. Now, when you can match those thoughts, those positive thoughts, those growing thoughts, those thoughts that you are, those thoughts that you're, that are helping you, come into the person that you want to be. What happens is when you match those thoughts with an elevated emotion, like gratitude, when you can signal gratitude and accompany it by that thought and really match it with that thought and correlate it with that thought. So when a thought hits you and you say, wow, I'm so grateful now that possibility is there, that's in my life, and you feel that gratitude as an actual emotion on the inside, that's your
that's when
you start changing
your
absolute, you start changing your reality around you. Your subconscious will literally start opening doors you did not know were there, and things will start happening as you continue to allow yourself to be in receivership. As you continue to be conscious and be aware, like we said, we're being exactly.
Yeah. And I think the awareness is also a really big part of it too, because those steps that you just described, you practice those when you're aware of the limiting beliefs. So I think what the practice is to just observe yourself and catch yourself. Oh, dude, this is because I have this limitation. Okay, now I have this practice, this strategy that we're discussing now. Okay, I've identified I'm in a limiting belief. Let me use gratitude practice and 10 times say the positive and the opposite version, the grateful I am worthy, and flip it. And then, as you just said, add the emotional and let me go deep into my emotion and actually feel grateful that I am already on the path and it's already happening for me now and I'm on the journey. Those are the like steps to it, you know, like really having that strategy, but then knowing when to deploy the strategy and really being aware of your negative mind states when they arise so you can catch them earlier and then boom, use the strategy.
Exactly. Very like I love talking to you about these issues, Kyle, because you can always relate. Everything that, you know, every time I run something by you or I'm been kind of thinking about something and I bring it up to you, sir.
Man. We're brothers of the same. We have very, very similar frequencies and vibrations. You know, we're on very similar paths, and so our ideas resonate with each other. Our conversations flow real nicely, and we don't even have to prepare anything. You told me this 2 minutes before, like, yo, this is what I want to talk about.
Here we are. Here we are. I love it, dude. I love it, my man. Dude, you're awesome, my man. You're awesome.
Thank you, Eddie. Same to you, man. The feeling is mutual.
So check this out, my brother. I'm gonna have you on every week. You're gonna be on next week with me as well. I'm gonna have you on next Tuesday, and the rest of the week is filled with amazing guests. You guys, this week we have Zach Zellner, amazing drummer from North Hollywood. He's gonna be coming down tomorrow with the kit. He's gonna be doing a live little drum expo in studio for you guys. So check that out tomorrow at 6:30. As well as on Thursday night, we're gonna have Mr. Tim Cruz down, and he's gonna be he's a film director and producer, so we're gonna have him on Thursday as well. It's gonna be an amazing discussion. And then on Friday, I cannot wait for this musical guest. We're gonna have Klepto K in the house. Kevin Cablo is gonna be doing a loop station set of all kinds of different stuff, and he's incredible. This is actually really incredible. If you want to see some of the stuff that you'll be seeing, then go to Klepto K's Instagram. Just Klepto K on Instagram. I think it's Klepto_K on Instagram, and you'll see some of his loop station stuff, which you'll be seeing live on Friday at 6:30. So check that out. And as well, tonight at 8 o'clock, I'm doing Human Jukebox right here on youtube.com/EddieBooz. Go ahead and click on the link. It'll be up in a little bit, and you guys can choose whatever song you guys want off a list of 200 songs, and I'll play whatever you guys want for a little while, and we'll have some fun this evening. So I just wanted to let you guys know what we're getting into this week, let you guys know what we're getting into tonight. It's going to be great. Next week, we have amazing guests as well all through the week. I'll let you guys know what we're doing next week as we near the end of the week coming up here. Kyle, again, thank you so much for being on the show, my man, host of the Mind Tasting Podcast. Thank you. Where can everybody find your stuff, buddy?
Mind Tasting on any podcast platform. And my handle for Instagram and Twitter is @Chirotechnics, just like pyrotechnics, but with the K. And reach out. Would love to hear from you. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Eddie, for having me. Have a wonderful day,
Absolutely, my man. I love you, Kyle. You have a wonderful night, my man. I'm going to check in with you in a little bit here. Why don't you go ahead and stay on with me? I'm going to go ahead and end. Okay, great. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the Listening Room. I am your host, Eddie Booz. You guys have been amazing, and thank you all. Love you all. Thanks for being a part of the Listening Room tonight. My name is Eddie Booz. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications, and give the video a like. We'll see you guys every Monday through Friday right here at 6:30. Take care.